is Gummy Beatz. I'm a music producer, songwriter a little bit, but not professionally, but I've written a lot of songs just for myself. I'm a guitarist, I'm an instrumentalist. I play guitar, piano, a little bit of drums. So I do a lot of just instrumental music for a lot of television shows and stuff like that. Everyone in my family would sing or play something. My mom's a singer, my grandma sings, my grandpa, so it's kind of always been in the family. I've been playing piano since I was 5, and then I started getting into guitar when I was like 13, 14. So originally I wanted to be like a rock star, I guess, and play guitar in a band and do that kind of thing, and really randomly stumbled into beats. I think it was the era when, about 10 years ago, I guess, when everyone wanted to be a rapper, or at least try to be, or be a producer, and randomly one of my friends down the street was like, "Hey man, don't you play piano?" I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, I'm trying to make these beats, but I don't play any instruments." He's like, "Help me." So I made a few beats with him, and it naturally just happened to where, I realized I had a talent for it, and just a few years went by and started saying, you know what, I want to do this professionally. God inspires me, nature inspires me, life inspires me. I think, I think you have to figure out who you are in this world and how you learn. And I was a person, school was never my thing. I can't read to this day very well, like a weird way. I'm not, I can't take information like that, but I can listen for hours, or I like to study people. So for me, travel is probably number one for me, because it's just the only way I can learn, where I can go to another country that's completely different and observe and see how people are. I can eat their food, I can listen to their music, and taking all that in, especially for music, because people ask, "Oh, what's your background? How do you," there's a lot of different styles, and it's because, I can go to, Hawaii. I went to Hawaii in September, and, going to a luau and listening to all the natural music and just the nature, and going for a swim in the Pacific Ocean, and just taking all that in. So I'd say that's what inspires me, and just people, people and life stories. It's interesting, my first 2 years, I don't know why, I would start with the drums, and then now I always do the melody, or if I find sometimes I'll just record a lot of ideas. I guess it depends. When you start doing things professionally, it kind of shifted for me, because now I have 30 beats on my desktop, and I'm not in a rush to release any of them. So I'll open it and I'll listen to it. Sometimes if I feel I want to play the keys, I would just record 10 different piano things, or different stuff, and then later I'll go back when I don't feel like turning on my keyboard at all. Or for example, when I travel, with these headphones, I've made beats on a train, on airplanes, because for my family I travel a lot, so there'll be times where I don't have a keyboard with me. So on my airplane, if I'm on the airplane, I'll go put on the headphones and I'll just listen to everything that I recorded, and then I'll start adding drums and mixing it up and choosing different sounds. So that's kind of how it goes now. When I started out before, I think when I was 17, I was so excited. I would finish everything fast, and I'd want to post it right away and show people. And I think I got ahead of myself a little bit, but I was just so excited about, the actual creative process. And now it's kind of since the business side is also part of the creative process, when also knowing, understanding that you have to make what sells as well. You can do whatever you want for yourself, but there's also a business side, which I do love the creative process of the business, by figuring out, how do I make that kind of sound, if that's what's popular, even if I personally don't maybe necessarily like it. But you do have to, deliver what people want, and that's part of it, and you can't be romantic about that at all. I used to get attached to beats, and then 6 months would even go by, and I would grow so much, and I'd be like, I can't believe I didn't want to sell that beat 6 months ago, because it wasn't that perfect price. At the end of the day, I always want to grow and get better, and I don't want to be stuck, because that's people ask "Oh, what do you do when you have beat block?" I've never had that, thank God. I've never had that, because I understand that everything is gifted from God. Every single note is given to me, and it can be taken away. So I just try to keep that flow going, and have gratitude for everything that has been gifted to me, and understand that none of this music belongs to me, and I'm gonna die and I can't take it with me. And it's just whatever, however it goes. Each beat has a path. Sometimes it takes 3 years. There's beats that I've made when I was 17, 18 years old that I couldn't even tell on my website that randomly I've gotten placed in TV shows because it was a different sound. And I was like, dude, I remember making that. I was like, you know, how did this happen 5 years later? Because it's, you know, been in a catalog or something. So situations like that have really showed me that, you know, you gotta have patience and faith and understanding that, you know, each beat has a soulmate, just like each person has a soulmate. I feel each beat has a soulmate for a project or for an artist or whatever in that right time when it happens. I mean, I'd say speakers. I mean, definitely, I think, I really, like, I love my speakers. I got M Audio BX5s. I've had 3 of them just over the years, and I just love to hear that bass and just hear everything, you know. I mean, obviously a keyboard is like, you know, I've had a keyboard that was $1,000 and I've had an $80 keyboard and all the notes are the same. I mean, pretty much, you know, you can do the same stuff. So people get, you know, complicated with all the keys and everything, the keyboards, but yeah, I'd say speakers. And Logic Pro, I love Logic Pro. I've made beats in a lot of different things, or in Reason, or I've tried for Fruity Loops, but Logic Pro is like, I'm very not nerdy with like the engineering side of things and the mixing side. That was always tough for me because I was always very creative. Like I started writing songs when I was 14, just on guitar and, you know, different stuff like that. But the technical side of things was always tough for me at the beginning, the first few years. So when I started using Logic Pro, it was like, I guess it was just meant for me. Like it was so easy for me to understand and it really took me to that next level. So definitely like I love Logic Pro. Probably a little more on the business side, because also considering, you know, how much time you take to study new things. We live in a world where, because of technology, things are shifting so fast, the internet, etc. You know, every day some app can come out and change the entire way we do business. I mean, even my Flash store, right, is completely changed the way I do business, because the biggest reason why I started using it is about 2 years ago, I was traveling a lot and I was having issues where if I'm in Europe and someone's buying, you know, a beat, and I'm sleeping in Europe and someone's buying a beat in California, they gotta wait 12, 14 hours by the time I wake up and get to the internet and all that. And that's like the biggest problem that I was having, where it's like, or I couldn't get to, you know, listen to it if I needed to make some changes or something. So that kind of thing, and seeing how quickly it shifts. You know, I've had now where I post a beat and I get a notification in an hour. And then my Flash was like, oh shit, like how did this, he didn't even have time to write to the song, but he already got it. And, you know, and then a couple hours later, they already recorded something. So understanding the speed of that, I have to take a lot of time to study the business. I never rush creativity. I never force myself. So that's how it naturally goes. If I wake up and I decide to just make music all day, then that's what happens. Or if I take a week doing that. But I can't force creativity, but I can force myself to learn business. I can force myself to answer emails. That's just discipline.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff where, you know, I try to learn about marketing techniques and branding techniques, because any day Gummy Beatz can turn into an old brand. Like, oh, I don't care. You know, look at every artist, so many one-hit wonders. Like studying even music and how people stay consistent and who are the ones that fall off, you know. So understanding just that, you know, that's why I say business is definitely, some people, I mean, it's about figuring out yourself, because I believe that each person has a way they do things. And if some people do, okay, one day I do creation, next day I do business, but, you know, that's kind of hard to balance, because, you know, if I get 10 emails in the morning, I got to answer them regardless, even if I'm not in the mood to. So even exercising, staying healthy, keeping your mind right, like knowing what you need to do for you in order to have that balance so you can, you know, constantly be working. I mean, life is pretty amazing in general. Like, just having gratitude, I think, for the little things. I mean, sometimes I'll go and I'll take public transit and I'll just observe and just even see like at 5 p.m. seeing people who are like stressed and they're like running and they gotta, you know, they just got off work and they gotta go to the store and it's life. And even having gratitude for the fact that, you know, I'm usually not running to go anywhere, you know, having, you know, the flexibility that I have because of my job, even though I do put in a lot of hours, but that's because I want to. So just having gratitude for things like that, and that adds to it. And, you know, helping people, I mean, helping old people and children is also like an interesting thing, because people like forget about old people, you know, and you can talk to them and like my grandparents are, you know, over 80 years old. Like they went through the war, they went through a lot of things, and like, you know, just having a conversation with them, they want to, you know, either reminisce about something, you know, from their days, and, you know, talking to them and just giving that time to them, and also you can learn something from them. And also, you know, children, there's so many. I'm the oldest in my family, and I got like 20 cousins, and, you know, their parents are all at work and busy with their own shit. So a lot of times, like, they don't have time to invest, you know, time into their kid to even teach him some cool, how to ride a bike, how to swim, I mean, things like that. So just giving back, you know, giving back to the things that you didn't grow up with, you know, opportunities, you know, just, it can be as simple as taking someone to the movies, you know, but just like giving people attention, I guess. And I think, you know, you get, just like even listening to a song by an artist, you know, how many people, you know, like, yeah, I'm established, I get, you know, thousands of plays a day, but that up and coming artist or producer who's just starting out, who posted a beat or song on SoundCloud and he's got 15 plays and 2 likes, you know, and it's like the fact that you took a minute to, you know, listen to that and remember that, hey, I was there one time. You know, I can't do that to everyone, but at least choose those few people a day, and, you know, gives them a little inspiration. It's like passing down the torch, and then you can get to your next step, because I constantly want to grow. The day I don't grow is the day I'm dying. The key is always understanding what is going on right now and what's going to be in 6 months, because everything is shifting so fast. It's like someone who goes to college, by the time they've learned that for 4 years, some whole new thing has been created in 4 years. We're such a small niche compared to, like, you know, selling t-shirts or something. You know, it is about that one-on-one, taking the time to really build that long-term customer base, if that's what you're good at. Because there's people who strictly just spend thousands of dollars on promo, they play the numbers game, they got great beats, and it just works, and it's kind of like automatic. But, you know, that works, but is that going to work in 5 years? I mean, I have customers that have spent, you know, $5,000-$10,000 with me, doing full projects with them, and that's not just because of my beats. You know, it's because I care. It's because I help them promote. It's about bringing value. The biggest marketing success that I've had is with Twitter. Like, I have over 400,000 followers, and of course I don't know who all of them are, but, you know, I started 5 years ago on Twitter, just figuring out timing was huge with that. And, you know, I'd say 70% of my business is from Twitter, for sure, just because it's so easy. I can send them the link, I can talk to them, any questions, you know, messaging them. But it's the content that I provide for free every day, whether it's daily motivation, whether it's tips to producers, even to artists, and every day, because who cares what you did yesterday? You want them to wake up in the morning and say, hey, what's Gummy gonna say today? And that's what brings them, you know, that consistency. Because, like, you can have a good month and a bad month, but there's no consistency in the music business, especially when selling beats. There's no guaranteed paycheck. So you have to do, your discipline and organization is the only thing that's gonna be the closest thing to consistency, by delivering X amount of beats a week or a month, you know, different genres, following up with everyone, like, hey man, you still interested in that beat? Like, not being scared to sell. There's beats that sell themselves, but you also have to sell yourself. You know, when you walk into a car dealership, I used to sell cars for 3 years, and that was a really probably the greatest experience for now that I have to sell beats, because there's always a car salesman, and, you know, people don't buy cars, people run into salesmen. Because if that was not the case, they would just go and they'd buy it. Everything's online, you can go learn everything about the car, but still, for some reason, there's a haggling and there's a whole process with the car salesman. So it is about saying, hey man, you know, check it out, man. Is there any other beats that you liked? You know, how about this? I'll throw you these 3 for, you know, this amount. You know, I'll give you a discount. Like, giving people discounts, it still works. It's what's worked since the days, you know, 5,000 years ago, a barter system, whatever you can offer. And the beauty of it is people have to understand the product, that it doesn't cost me anything to give someone a free beat. You know, it's literally air. Like, there's no damage. Like, the beauty of this business is that there's no product that can get damaged. You know, that's not like a truck's gonna flip over in New Jersey with 500 of my, t-shirts, and it's like, here's a free beat, to them it's like, oh damn, cool, you're giving them value, costs you nothing. Doing stuff like that, I think, is what marketing is, more than even just ordering ads and that kind of stuff. Is like, okay, you do that, but so you paid for it and that's it, let the ad do the work. That's like, okay, if you have a budget. But I started with $500 in my pocket and I was broke as shit. And like, I didn't have an option to, buy SoundClick ads or Facebook ads or none of that. And it was just one by one, creating, giving value and building that trust with the artist that's going to spend, money with you for years. When I started Gummy Beatz in 2012, I had no money. My beats weren't even that good yet. And I was like, I had this idea on Twitter where I was like, I followed up to 2,000 people, and then there's a block on Twitter that doesn't allow you to follow more. And everyone's like, well, how do you get over that? And that's a huge problem. And a lot of people don't even get to that point where it's like, oh, I mean, there is nothing, I will tell you, that where you can follow 1,000 people a day for free, where 1,000 people can potentially listen to your music. You can pay $100 and not get that kind of, those kind of results with many things. So when I hit that thing, I was like, oh shit, what do I do? So I made another Twitter, and I made another one. I made 8, and I followed 8,000 people a day for 2 years. That's how I did it. And it just grew and grew, and that's it. And there's probably like 5 other people who've done that, I guess, and that's it. Like, there was no other choice for me. Now, I didn't spam anybody. So that's what the people mistake. They try to, automate it. I've never had an automated message or anything like that. I follow them. I'm not bothering them. They gained a follower, they're happy. I'm not hitting them up, hanging with that. If they want to follow me back and check out my stuff, cool. If not, it is what it is. I can't get everyone. So, and as your Twitter following grows, and just, you grow in your music, more and more people begin to follow back. And I still do it to this day. I don't do it on 8 accounts. I only have my one. I don't have to go that crazy anymore. But I mean, that's what I suggest to people, to do. You got to work with what you got, and not, if there's a wall, you got to figure out how to get past it. Instagram is huge. I've posted a video of a 15-second Instagram preview of a beat and had people message me on Instagram like, yo, how much? And I'm like, it's not even done yet. I'm still making the beat, So that's a next thing. Like, you gotta just figure out what you can do. Whatever your budget is, if you don't have a budget, it's just ambition. Whatever the next thing will be, the next Twitter, you have to figure it out in time, study everything about it, and start just working it. Because now I can tweet anything and I can sell anything with a tweet. Well, it's interesting because I've had this new theory, actually, because of my Flash store recently, where I think certain people, want to buy the beat and not have any contact with me because maybe they're starting out and they're, they don't want to even show, because there's a lot of times I will not hear like the final song, like they don't purposely send it to me or whatever. And maybe that's like they're just trying to grow, maybe they're embarrassed. So like that's another beautiful thing that creates kind of aspect for them to be able to do that. In that opportunity. But the people who I see who actually will email me and, usually ask, or like on Twitter and stuff, back and forth, I'll always, keep up with them. I actually don't have a mailing list though, because Twitter is my mailing list. I think the whole email marketing thing, it works, but it's kind of like old school to me. I think that anyone who wants to reach me is following me on Twitter or on the social media, stuff like that. I mean, of course, for business, they can email. Maybe it's a little bit more professional, but like a lot of times it's so much easier understanding that everyone is in their phone and just in their Twitter and their social media, and just you can message back and forth. I can send them a PayPal link right there. They can pay it on their phone. Following up with the ones, definitely that have, spent thousands of dollars or buying exclusive rights and stuff like that. I definitely follow up with the projects I help promote. Like, again, what value I can bring. Like, the fact that I tell everyone I will retweet anything produced by Gummy Beatz. Considering I have a big following, that's a huge thing for them, because what's the hardest thing for artists to do is get the song heard. So that's another reason why I did the Twitter thing, because knowing that, like, what can I provide that doesn't cost me anything, because it's about keeping your costs low. Because I'm myself, like, I don't hire no one, and I don't want to. Even if I have the opportunity to hire an assistant, I don't want to, because I can do it all myself, and I can just look it all over and not have to pay out that extra money. So, and I like to be involved, you know. Definitely I want to see the growth of artists, because like the ones that are actually good and are, you know, doing videos, or like when I see someone who, you know, spent $2,000 to be on World Star, you know, and you can see he spent a couple grand on the video, and, you know, just, I respect that hustle, definitely, and I want to help and give back. And it depends. And I think a lot of times just people will come back. Like, there's definitely the people that I've produced the whole mixtape for them, and those are those like specific type of beats that I make. You know, there's the ones that I'll make. That's when the creation process really just helps out as well, because if there's a hot song right now, like a Drake type beat, you know, I'll make it because it sells, you know, but it's not a Gummy beat probably. You know, obviously it has my flavor to it, but then there's the stuff that's just really me, and, you know, I can recognize, and there's people that just naturally vibe with that. And, you know, they'll just keep coming back, and I show respect, like try to remember all their names and everything, because it's like their email is one thing, their Twitter is another thing, it's like their legal name's another name, and you get confused with all that stuff. But like, I have a notebook where I write stuff down, like the people who I feel that I need to, like, I'm very old school, like I write down everything. I write down all my sales manually, I do all my books manually, just because it's like meditative. And then I'll look up like, oh, okay, this person about this beat, like, I'll write detail, like something like, oh, from New Jersey, dude, whatever, like we discussed. And then I'll follow up with him like, oh, you know, 3 months later, hey, how you doing? Really figuring out like in depth of the branding, because someone can see you and be like, cool, but are they gonna remember you the next day? And that's the thing, where there's just like so many people, so many different producers, but like whether it's gonna be your personality, if you don't wanna show your face, or you don't wanna do that, you know, figure out something else, or just really focus on the good music. You know, usually you have to do everything. You know, you have to just do everything and understand that, you know, constantly learn what's the next thing. Because if you're always gonna be a step behind with that. And you gotta find somewhere where you're gonna win, like get in early, so to speak. Like the people who got in early on SoundClick 10 years ago, you know, they've been grandfathered in to a certain thing where they've gotten, you know, a bunch of, whether it's a huge mailing list that they've built or whatever it may be. And it's constantly gonna change, because there's gonna be producers who are gonna quit or move on to different things. You know, like I don't know how I'm gonna be 45 years old selling beats online. Who knows what I'm gonna be doing, right? So understanding that your time will come, but you have to put in that work, constantly learning and finding that moment, and know when that moment is there, and just, you gotta really kill it in that moment. Because like that was like my Twitter thing, you know, like that was like a big change that without that, I mean, I might have done something different, but that was what worked for me. You know, trying to do the same thing that someone else already did, well, you're always gonna be a step behind. Like, you know, try to find out that next thing. I'd say there's definitely an X amount of money that I spend every month experimentally, because there's always new things that come about. And, you know, scared money doesn't make any money. And if I have the opportunity to, like, you know, you can lose 9 times, but that 10th time might be that golden thing that you found out, and that will change your entire way of business. You know, like I'm not worried about a little $500 a here. I'm worried about trying to make that $50,000 off that $500 investment that I can keep doing. So, you know, definitely I order SoundClick ads. Facebook advertising has been pretty good for me recently, so I do that kind of stuff. Twitter, actually, it's interesting that Twitter I didn't really like the results on the Twitter advertising, which was weird. But maybe just, you know, timing with everything too, you know, trying it a few times, or whether it's paying for DJs to, you know, host your mixtape, you know, paying for mixtape hosting, exposure. I think a lot of people don't understand that, you know, they're waiting for a rapper to rap on their beat. Like, this is a business. And the sooner you realize that, you can pay a rapper to rap on your beat if you want a credit. It's what your time is worth. Are you going to spend hours trying to email everything, and, you know, or like go around, if you live in LA or something, or Atlanta, go around town, like, what is your time worth? Or you can just email them and say, how much? You know, you're doing that for investment to build your name long-term wise, you know? at the end of the day, like, what does DJ Khaled do? He doesn't make beats, he doesn't rap, but he has a platinum selling album. How? Because he buys a bunch of beats, he pays the best people on it, and he buys the best songwriters, and he makes the best product. You know, no one's questioning that. You know, like, does Rick Ross write his lyrics or whoever? It's all about final product, you know, and at the end of the day, it's business. People respect that investment. Like, I tell rappers all the time, like, if you have a song, like, get a local artist, like, the best investment can be to get that someone on the hook. You know, that person, like, you could have got, you know, a Ty Dolla $ign hook for maybe $500, you know, 5 years ago or something or whatever. And now he's one of the biggest artists out there. You know, that's an investment. So whether it's advertising, whether it's like I drop a few mixtapes every year on Dat Piff, that gets pretty pricey. And just, you know, also equipment, investing in yourself, you know, designs, all that kind of stuff, whether you're doing videos, I mean, equipment, all that kind of stuff. That's pretty much what comes out to that. I mean, I'm probably gonna spend more this year than $25,000 on that, you know? So it's just, and the long-term stuff, thinking about the future. You know, I do a lot of things today that I may not even see a result in a year. It's long-term stuff, you know, information is not free. I mean, there's a lot that's free, but even more so, when you pay someone, it's a level of respect. Yeah. And they appreciate that. You know, I've paid managers, I've paid to get TV placements when I was starting out just to find out how. You know, I spent like $5,000 losing money, but then I made 30 grand off, you know, TV placements. You know, so that kind of stuff. It's so long term and you just can't be scared. And the more, it's kind of like when you're a kid or a teenager, I guess, and you know, the first time, like maybe you're used to going to McDonald's and spending $5 or $10, but then it's like, oh, to go out to get sushi is $20 or something. You know, it's still like a jump, regardless of what it is. Like paying rent, you know, your first time, or even whatever it may be. It can be something small or it can be something huge. And just growing and growing, understanding that if you're gonna invest in the right places, that money will come back. Yeah. Tenfold. You know, sometimes you may lose, but you're gonna win in the long run. If you're also investing in knowledge and, you know, knowing the right time and place to do, you know, to buy promo and stuff, and really researching it. Probably, I mean, just obviously seeing it on other people's, you know, that definitely helps. Seeing a producer who I admired at the time or whatever, I was like, okay, he's using that, so it's a trusted, you know, brand with that. I think just the layout of seeing most producers who got more comfortable with it, because like I recently, actually yesterday, my designer just changed. I took off my PayPal box completely, so everything's fully automated. And just having that, knowing that, you know, most people now have used my Flash store who are rappers, and they get it, even with the discount stuff, and like it's very just that kind of stuff. It's very easy to change. Like, oh, if I want to change my prices, you know, boom, I can do it with one button. I mean, that's really keeping it easy. And also the online or mobile version. I think that's a big thing, because I didn't realize how many people, because I have a computer, I make beats, all this stuff, like a lot of people who are rappers, they don't have computers, which is weird. Like they're all on their phone. Like when people start telling me, hey man, I'm writing to your beats, I'm on the bus, like with my headphones on my phone. I'm like, what? What's going on? And realizing that it's so mobile, and the mobile thing is the future even more so. Like if 80% of people on Facebook are on their phone. So like I look up these statistics knowing that, and I know that like mobile is the biggest thing, because, and I literally went on my phone, on my iPhone, like, okay, how would I buy, you know, my Flash store? It's like, boom, this is what I want, this is the details, and PayPal, whatever. So definitely like that kind of, you know, it just works. I mean, I like the style. I also like the fact that, you know, after a sale, you can see their email, and it's very easy to like, if you do want to have a mailing list or see who that is, contact that person. You can just copy and paste that instead of going through PayPal and like, you know, wondering all that stuff. So my Flash store has definitely changed my life in the sense that I can sell beats worldwide and making money in your sleep. This is a business where you have the opportunity to literally make money in your sleep, and every day I wake up and I get beat sales. whether it's from someone in Europe, UK, Australia. I mean, I sold beats to probably over 100 different countries. And I think that gives them that, kind of opportunity to where they can just buy it and get it, and you don't have to worry about them, not waking up to, hey man, I need you to send me the beat, like my session's in 2 hours, because for some reason rappers just, they don't really plan ahead. It's like, why don't you buy it, if your session's on Saturday, why don't you buy it, today and have it? No, it's like they do it all at once. So it gives them opportunity. Boom, here's the download link. That's that. And you don't have to worry about it, so you can spend more time on creation and quality. And just once it's uploaded, it's there. Everything, all options are there. And if I want to do a beat sale, I can change all the prices right there real quick. If I want to do a coupon or something, that kind of stuff, instead of doing everything manually. And I love it, man. I love, still to this day, it's like waking up and getting sales, or when it just goes off, it's like, cool, I don't have to do nothing. I don't have to like especially if I'm like out with my wife eating dinner or something, and then it's like a PayPal notification goes off and it says my flash drive, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like, I don't need to be like, hurry up, I need to send this beat out. That was an interesting point in my career. Yeah, now I've done like, I probably have like close to 1,000, beats placed in different shows and stuff. But when I was living in LA, I was like 21 or something. I was just really frustrated with everything. Like, I was just basically paying rent by like doing custom tracks here and there, and it was tough. Like, really barely making it, trying to invest what I could all into, figuring it out, playing the little Hollywood game and everything. And, I remember I was stuck in LA traffic driving home. I was just feeling kind of down, and all of a sudden I had a BlackBerry at the time, and my phone went off, and I had an email, and they're like, hey, yeah, I just found, it was a music supervisor, and he was like, hey, we just got, 2 beats of yours placed in the Donald Trump roast. And I was like, I remember I was like in traffic, I was screaming, I was going wild. Yeah, I think I told that story in one of my videos on YouTube, but that was just like, gave me faith to it. It's like, okay, cool, like all this is paid off. Like, I don't care how much I get paid for it or whatever, but it's just a start, and it just feels good to say that, like, that happened, that all this frustration, all this work, that, something came out of it. And then after that, they just started rolling in, learning the game more, like developing those relationships. Again, it's timing, me sending out, my demo of my beats to, every single person in the country who I could possibly find, their email address or their office, and sending a physical CD at that time. And, several of those people, jerked me around, but, a few of those people really ended up, building a relationship. And as they grew with the company, I'm growing with them, and I was like, the go-to guy for hip hop at the time. So and then Love and Hip Hop came out, and I didn't even know what it was yet, because it was just like some show on VH1. I did I have a beat in every single episode, on all the Love and Hip Hop episodes, for sure, at least one beat. And that was because the company that did that, they did a lot of rock and roll stuff, and they didn't have a hip hop person in there, and they were growing at the time. So that's timing, and the consistency of, getting that right timing where, okay, and studying them, knowing that I play guitar, and knowing that they did rock, I didn't submit any rock, because I knew that, well, they already got that handled. Like, they're not gonna place my rock track. Why? They can do it themselves and make all the money off them. So understanding that, goal, this is something they didn't do, so I was just delivering a lot of hip hop stuff at the time, classic stuff, and and then that resulted doing a lot for BET, MTV, and then I started really studying in depth of once I started realizing that they were getting more projects that they would tell me about. They're like, oh, we're looking for, Discovery Channel, Animal Planet. I was like, well, hold on, it's not gonna be like Gummy Beatz, so I started studying world music, and I remember buying drum kits and different sounds that are more native, and flutes and all that kind of stuff, and studying all the world music. Because when if the History Channel was doing a thing even on World War II, about Poland or something in Poland, in 1939 or something like that, it's gonna be playing that kind of music of that era. So that's always needed, and that's on repeat on History Channel all the time, because once it's there, it's like, plus the online, the Netflix, you know. So really sitting there and studying instead of just trying to submit some beats, you know, which everyone is trying to do. But there's probably very few people my age at least who are trying to figure out how to make some gypsy music, you know. So, you know, that's what I studied, and you know, and I like gypsy music and all that. I like all the world stuff. I have an influence in my beats, but like, you know, really knowing that more, that's what kind of gave me the opportunity to kind of go outside the box of the hip hop world and all that stuff. Selling online independently because it's something that I'm in control, and understanding that this is a business where, you know, like I get paid, I get checks, like I don't know, I can't track like where my music's been played, who stole what, and at the end of the day, like I'm not in control of it. Versus online, I can say, hey, this is my beat, it's attached to my PayPal account, you can pay here, and that's it. And it's something that I can continue growing. Placements is a luck thing, you know. You have a good month, or a good year. Usually, I count it by the year. You know, like you can never guess how good a show is going to do. All that stuff, like how much they're willing to pay. It's all by how many seconds they, you know, whether they take a beat for 10 seconds or 50 seconds. That's a huge difference, depending on how many times it airs. All that stuff, I'm not in control of that. So that's when I realized, like, I can't rely on that. To me, that's like my fun money. That's like extra cash. Like when I get a check from ASCAP or an upfront check for a TV show or something, I'll either invest it or I'll treat myself or something like that, you know. But you cannot rely on just that to make a living. I don't believe so. I mean, unless you have like some kind of like contract or some stuff that has an upfront thing, but I would still try to build your own thing, because then you can do whatever you want. Maybe in 5 years, I don't want to sell beats, but I can have the Gummy Beatz brand. I can turn it into a clothing line. I can turn it into whatever I want, because I have the following, people know me, and that's how in depth and how far you have to think about it. Just continuing to build. As far as, you know, creatively always growing, always trying to, you know, keep up with the styles that are going on right now, understanding what's next, what's the 2017 sound that people are going to want. So creatively, always that. And just to keep building my audience, keep building my business, keep providing, you know, and making good music with people, and seeing what they want more, studying the marketing of it more and more and more, understanding the psychology of the artist, what else we can provide as technology grows. Like, where are we going to be in 5 years? Who knows? Like, what kind of opportunities are going to be for the producer and the artist, and just shifting, just constantly shifting of where beat sales are going, pricing, understanding the market, all that. Well, I think there's so much more potential still, like, which is dope, because, you know, people complain about many things, but that doesn't change anything. You know, you can't. I've always wanted to have like some kind of like a producer union, and maybe there's like a certain like unspoken word and understanding between producers of maybe certain prices and whatnot, but like you can't get mad at someone who's trying to do something else. You know, you can only, if you're good and people like what you're doing, they're gonna pay that price, regardless of what it is, how you present it. But yes, there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of things that many people don't like. That's what's going on. But it is what it is. And I'm just worried about my brand and what I can do and provide for people. And that's it. And there's just so much more that's gonna, like, you know, with technology-wise, all that kind of stuff. I think it's gonna be more fun, more interesting, and more opportunities for everybody, and value for the customer and the producer. Stay humble, spend hours and hours and hours and hours on the game of learning creatively and business-wise, because there's a lot of competition. You going into this huge pool of people who are already established, and if you do want to, you know, make a name for yourself and make a living doing this, you got to sacrifice a couple years of your life. At least in the beginning, you know, the fun. And I think that's the hardest thing. And not just saying it, you know, not just tweeting it and saying that you're doing it. I'm grinding. Like, what does that really mean? What sacrifice is that? Like, are you willing to wear the same pair of shoes for 2 years? Because that extra $50 you'd rather use towards some promo, or something. How much? Like, no excuses. I don't care if you grew up rich or if you're poor. Like, and I really want to inspire the producers who are outside the U.S. Because when I talk to you guys complain and use your location, or people who are like in Kentucky or some shit. You guys use your location as an excuse. I live in the middle of Russia. Yes, I speak English. I'm blessed to know English, but my surroundings have nothing to do with my business. I sit in this room, and it doesn't matter whether I'm in New York or wherever. Yeah, of course, if you live in LA, maybe you can have some connects on the business side. But like, you don't realize how much opportunity you have. Like, if you look, I talked to a guy in Kazakhstan. His rent is $100 a month. Like, he just needs to make $500 to have like a decent life. You're complaining? Like, there's people, like my friend lives in San Francisco, he's paying $3,200 for his apartment, So like, it's actually more beneficial for you. So don't ever use your location as an excuse. This is the opportunity that gives you exactly the people who can't afford to move to New York or whatever, these big cities, and this dream of that. You're actually more lucky. Because I lived in LA for 3 years, and I had to deal with all that bullshit and all the Hollywood stuff and go through that, and that's a path that I needed to go through just to realize that I don't need that. That's not what I want for myself. I can't be in control. There's a lot of lies, it's a lot of stuff, and when I see people who have songs on the radio and they didn't get paid, or just all this stressful stuff, like, why do you need it? When you can make 6 figures sitting at home, doing what you love, and making beats and being in control of whatever, so that's to inspire, but you have to put in the work, because there's always, like, you have to put in the hours. Like, you can't it doesn't mean sit there and make 10 beats a day. You can't push quality and all that, but you can study, there's hours and hours of free information on YouTube that you can learn, and have patience to, actually listen to the full video. Go through all the way, take notes. Like, everything that you learn in school, if you don't want to learn how to learn, you go to school to learn how to learn. Then you go to college or whatever, and you choose what you want to learn and apply those skills. Why do you memorize poems and, dates and all these things in school? So you can learn how to learn. Take notes, reread it, like, apply all those skills to this that you want to do. If you're going to spend 50 grand to go to school, like, invest 50 grand into this. Like, that was my logic. Like, I'm not like, I had the opportunity to go to, universities and stuff like that. I just chose not to, because I'd rather spend that money to do what I want and invest it into this, into the knowledge of it as well. So just no excuses. Like, it's possible, and people are living the dream every day. Just when you do start making money, you have to be even more humble. Like, you have to know that you have that extra money that you have, you still have to invest it back in your brand. Like, can you do that? Like, if you're making 4 or 5 grand a month selling beats, can you live on 2 grand and have that 3 investing and constantly? Because you have to grow. And that's the thing that a lot of people can't do as well. Like, just to the producers who are actually making living, like, you still have to sacrifice. Don't fucking lease that BMW. Don't. Like, it's just, do it a little bit later. Like, wait those extra few years. It'll be so much more worth it. Now, I'm not saying, like, don't live today, man. Like, I like to travel. Like, I traveled the world, like, last few years. I spent a lot of money doing that. But that's an investment in myself. How much music did I make from that? How many people did I meet? How much inspiration did I get? Actually, interesting fact about England. When I went to London, and this is what proved, actually, just how marketing works and everything. I went to London and I took a bunch of pictures, hashtagging, for Instagram and all that stuff. And the month after, because PayPal gives you statistics, like, I don't remember what percentage, but like a large percentage of my purchases were all from the UK. My beats, because the people who see it, the artists who are like, oh man, he's in England, maybe we can meet up next time, or whatever it may be. Like, that's how powerful that is. So I definitely, my plane ticket and all that, going to London and spending, those expensive beers there and just having fun, it's an investment. Like, and people see it, it's part of your image. It's part of your image. And you have to invest in that as well. you know. So whatever works. I mean, if buying a cool car makes you look cool, you know, and then I guess that is an investment, or like nice clothes or whatever it may be. I mean, it is hip hop. It's part of it for sure. Just don't go crazy with it. Where if you're not there yet, you know, wait a little bit and invest back into it. You can always invest back into your business, always. So yeah, that's my spiel for young producers and people who are, you know, on their way to success.